The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund are trying to hammer out a debt relief deal to help ailing economies weather the pandemic. They will be speaking with the finance ministers and the central bank governors from the G20 tomorrow. This, as the IMF's latest economic outlook projects global growth to fall 4.4% this year, less severe than feared. The IMF's projected earlier in June that global economic output will shrink nearly 5%. Nick Harper joins us live from Washington. Nick, the outlook better than feared, but with coronavirus cases finding new foot in many countries, is there still a risk for larger economic contraction this year?
Well, Glenda, I think simply put, the answer is yes. If you read between the lines on this report, there is one very large caveat from the IMF that essentially anything can happen. Now, they say in the report that the global economy is climbing out of the depths that it hit earlier this year, but it's also warning that there is a long and difficult ascent ahead. Indeed, that is the title of this report, A Long and Difficult Ascent. It says that economic activity around the world is still prone to setbacks. It points to the fact that cases are rising, the fact that some economies are beginning to shut down their economies again. We're seeing partial lockdowns in some countries as well, and therefore they're saying that growth may slow even further. Now, they are hoping for better things. They point to the fact that they're hoping for stronger economic activity around the world in the third quarter. They say that 2021 will be even better. We're likely to see a rebound in activity rising to 5.2%. But they do say that the uncertainty of all of these projections that they're putting forward remains unusually large. They say that there are health and economic factors all around the world that are inherently difficult to predict. They point to things like weaker tourism, lower remittances, vaccine development that might be slower than everyone hopes for, the speed of people returning to workplaces, and of course the risk of a large-scale resurgence of the virus around the world. The bottom line of this, they say, is unpredictability is very much the key within this report and how global activity performs over the coming months.
Nick, the IMF World Economic Outlook says advanced economies are improving. Does this put them in a good position to provide debt relief to poorer economies, perhaps?
Well, Steve, yes, in theory it does, and it's certainly something that the World Bank and the IMF would like to see. But because of all of this unpredictability and uncertainty, we are still seeing richer countries really wanting to hold back that money because they're worried about what might happen within their own economies before they look further afield. Now, back in May of this year, the richer countries, the G20 countries, agreed to debt relief suspensions until the end of this year. And at the moment, they're trying to hammer out a new deal to extend it even further. But at this stage, it seems that a one-year extension won't be possible. At best, the World Bank is saying that they are likely to have a 6-month extension only. Now, on Wednesday, later in the day, we're going to be seeing a meeting, virtually, of course, with the finance ministers of the G20 countries. But the IMF overall is warning that the deteriorating financial sentiment that we could see in the richer countries might mean that they stop lending or stop these rollovers of financial debt relief altogether.
All right, thanks for that, Nick Harper, speaking to us from Washington.